Drama.
Action.
Comedy. Palace intrigue. Story Squad presents Clash of the Pencils. Welcome, folks, to a chilly night here in Milford, Delaware. We have some great heavyweight story matchups for you tonight, wrapping up all the day's highlights of Clash of the Pencils action, as well as the weekly, crowning a weekly champion. So welcome back to the Clash of the Pencils nightly live stream, the most watched creative writing esport league live stream in the history of the internet. I'm your host, Tom Sherman. We're here as we are every weeknight to review the top 3 story submissions from around the net, get the latest scores, and see who's atop the leaderboard. Every day we field anywhere from 0s to 10s of submissions, which then get run through our high-tech computer, Storybot 3000, which uses, among other things, the feeling you get before vomiting to analyze every story. We then take Storybot's top 3 picks and let you, the public, vote to determine tonight's winner. Alongside me today, we've got Greg, the JPEG Peterson. What do you got there, Greg?
At the moment, she was 2 tables away, theoretically reading Driscoll's User's Guide to Southeast Asian Artillery while eating a salad, but I know she was even more finely tuned in the goings-on of the room than usual. Hey, Tom!
Wow, that made me hungry. Must be dinner time. What's happening?
Starving.
Well, before we get underway and get this show over so you can go eat dinner, let's remind the folks what everyone's playing for tonight. There's actually 2, name it, not one, but 2 IOU NFTs on the line tonight, folks. One is going to be awarded to our nightly champion, and then another awarded to our weekly winner. And since it is the end of a Gregorian week, that means that there's another NFT up for grabs. So this unique 1 out of 10,000 NFT is actually an IOU for a different NFT, a future NFT coming up from the 10,000 NFT drop from Story Squad. Although the current estimated cash value of the IOU NFT is $100 US, that's not the full value of NFTs. Think of NFTs like keys to the future. Right now, as humans, we interact with businesses and organizations much like ants might their queen, slaving away day in and day out for resources to give to the queen so that she may survive. NFTs turn this one-directional relationship into a community partnership. Owning NFTs of organizations will allow those owners special perks like early access to future products, exclusive content behind paywalls, and access to the inner community. Not only that, but NFTs are transferable, allowing owners to sell at a premium, which in turn appreciate all other NFTs held by community members. So NFTs are part art, part online identity, part admission to a virtual country club, part crypto speculation, part generational wealth, and all real, baby. So there you have it, Greg. We actually had a sneak preview of the NFT artwork yesterday, and it's looking great. We tried very hard to get the higher-ups to approve letting us show you the fans.
We were shut down, Tom. Shut down. But
immediately.
It looked amazing. You'll have to trust us.
Yeah,
but it was amazing.
You got to trust us, and don't trust me based on my style appearance right now. Know that up here, like the analysis, it's just as rock solid as our story analysis.
Yeah. Storybot 3000 would approve. Let's just leave it right there.
Yeah, that's all that needs to be said. So with that nitty gritty out of the way, let's start looking at what we have here for as far as matchups go. Here's the weekly leaderboard. Right now, Slice on top with a commanding lead of 519 points to Champions 455. Sarblue 7788 in third place with 420. Meanwhile, Joanna Man and Repeat really out of contention for the weekly leaderboard as well. Really, what Champion and Sarblue 7788 needed to happen today was Slice to not make it into the top three. Because that was the only way that they were going to be able to get enough points, and hopefully not enough points for Slice to kind of take that lead. Looks like Slice is going to make it. Slice is in the top three, so looks like Slice is going to take the week. But the day is still up for grabs.
The day's up for grabs, and it shows you the power of showing up every day. Slice deserves that NFT for the weekly prize.
That is a fact.
Played. Hats off.
That is a fact. Submitting a story every day in the week. It's that day in and day out grind that really makes a champion happen. So let's take a look now at today's writing prompt. A character takes a sip from their cup and remembers something. So pretty broad here, pretty vague as far as the character, the setting, even the plot. This sip could come at any moment in the story. Right, you are.
Am I
Greg
supposed to say something?
No, I mean,
I was
normally,
almost. I was like, oh, I should check I should be checking my text messages. Someone's supposed to be texting me. I totally missed that one.
That's fine. Normally, this is when we banter.
Yeah.
I'll make a point and then let you get the.
I think
rebuttal.
Storybot 3000. Once we go Storybot like 3001. I feel like we need some artificial banality built into this natural language processing. And then it's really just like press go and then the whole show runs and we're just deep fakes having artificial banality banter back and forth for us.
Interesting take on today's writing prompt. I don't know if that's where I would go with it personally, but hey, there's only one way to find out what the authors submitted. And that's to start playing them. Our first story that Storybot 3000 churned out for us is from a newcomer to the podium, Howard Stern. Ooh. Who did you get a chance to read the 6-page litany they submitted yesterday?
It's an epic. It's an absolute epic. I'm so glad to have Howard Stern, and we don't know if there's a relation. We can speculate. It could be a random Howard Stern. There's many Howard Sterns, but it could be.
It's probably the one that we all know, or Randall Cobb. That's the other option.
Green 18 is out there, and he's a sucker for the Hallmark movie channel. If I'm reading those stories, right?
Classic.
Right.
So yeah. So here's Howard Stern's submission for us tonight. I get food stamps, Tom. You know they call me food stamps galore at Wawa's all across the Eastern Shore. So it's no surprise on this day I'm buying out the Wawa in Easton. Tom, did you know I can purchase a caramel frappe with 2 shots of espresso? On my food stamp card. I don't know why everybody doesn't have one. All you gotta do is lie and say you're homeless. And unemployed. But the thing is, this magic cold food cash cow of a card I have has been giving me less food due to some big fancy word I keep hearing the smart people call inflation. But at least I have my true scapegrace, my Arnold Palmer Arizona tea, and 99 cents, what a bargain. Although I never found an answer anywhere to this inflation, or why the drink was called Arnold Palmer, but it had George Bush's face on the can, I just know in my crazy life, where certainty is a fairy tale, these cans would stay the same price. I take that long sip, that everlasting guzzle that will assure my story adheres to the prompt. I think to myself, could 99-cent Arizona teas be holding the fabric of our society together? Side note, I have the AP umbrella tattooed on my shoulder. What a moron I was for thinking it was fine walking into a parlor more starry-eyed than Greg's literary intellect. Point at my can of AP, Daily, Pomeranian, and say, I want that umbrella because I like tea. So here we have a sort of a train of thought monologue from a person known as Food Stamps Galore on the Eastern Shore. After marveling at its utility, lamenting the susceptibility of inflation for food stamps, Galore praises a scapegrace, which is a 99-cent can of Arizona iced tea, contemplating it might be the thread tying society together, a conviction held so deeply by Galore that they tattooed its logo on their shoulder.
This was a wild. This could only be written by a wild man. There's the mutterings, the stream of consciousness. He addressed you directly, Tom. Did you know, Greg? He's referencing me. It's some sort of meta commentary in which the prompt. There was a moment where it was said, making sure that my story adheres to the prompt, and it was almost like we have the unfiltered sort of part of the author that doesn't want to focus, and then trying to keep on task, but still going off task in this really interesting, vignette of food stamps galore. I was really interested in how capitalism and the language of just kind of cheap drinks, the Arnold Palmer iced tea, suffuse the entire narrative. The whole talk of food stamps and the cold food, cold food cash cow of a card. I thought that wordplay was excellent.
Very good. Very good.
I thought I could see the character was like there was electricity in the character here. I have no idea what the plot was.
Right. Plot is a bit of mystery.
Plot
of a bit of mystery.
The setting, though, was interesting in that all the brands sort of stood in. Like, we did get a level of society. Like, we did get the food stamps, the Wawa, the Eastern Shore, the Arnold Palmer iced tea. So there was some setting through just the brands being consumed. The last go for it.
I do think the setting, this is why I think the setting is very strong, is you kind of mentioned it, where the character is going on this sort of like rant, you know what I mean, and directly addressing you. It felt like I was at a convenience store and there was this guy drinking an Arnold Palmer and yelling at everybody getting a caramel frappuccino, being like, "What are you doing? You could be getting the Arnold Palmer. It's 99 cents. It's been 99 cents forever." And I was there. So I think you're spot on with the setting. It was very well laid out.
I got some definite images in my head. It was easy to locate. I was pretty interested, though, in the idea about inflation and the cost of things and just compulsively trafficking and the little 99-cent transactions as inflation starts running away. It also makes me think of the cryptocurrency market and NFTs, and maybe that's an interesting play on this. Are we a cold food cash cow of a card here? Are our NFTs going to be that one day? Maybe.
Very interesting connection there between our very own NFTs, these IOU NFTs currently, and possibly buffering yourself against inflation and other fiat currency devaluation. I think that was the plot too. On my notes, I have plot ? Not much conflict beyond the inflation eating away at the food stamps. So that's kind of, I don't know, but I'm leaving the plot. Maybe, maybe we can bump it up a little bit.
I almost want to put it past the triangle, Tom.
Just all the way, all the way off.
All the way there. That's
all right. That's fair.
That's the ultimate. Storybot loves his avant-garde. Loves the avant-garde.
Yeah. I mean, and when you get two of these marshmallows so close to the center of the Dorito chip, the third one you could just eat. You don't even need it to get it on the chip.
Yeah.
So interesting start, strong start by Howard Stern here.
Next week could be Howard Stern's week.
Could be big if Howard Stern shows up 5 days in a row next week. Slice is going to have a run for his money. I'm sure of it. So secondly, we're going to go to Champion. See what they have to say about this prompt. Cackled the evil witch. "You fool! I wanted you to bring the unicorn army to my secret hovel." She walked up to Mr. Pizzlypuff, staggering from the pain from the hairline crack in his horn. A bioluminescent gel seeped out of the wound, collecting at the tip as the magical beast hung its head in shameful defeat. There, General. It will be okay, the witch cooed before swiftly cracking the unicorn's horn in half with a swift blow. Mr. Pizzlypuff's scream echoed through the enchanted forest. The witch tilted the horn back, guzzling its sweet nectar. Immediately, the witch was transported back to her childhood, before the warts and her parents' divorce and her cat Iggy running away. She was happy. In a second, she returned to the present. No matter, she had 10,000 captive unicorns. So here, a witch tricks the entire unicorn army into some sort of apparent trap. The general, Mr. Pizzlypuff, is injured and defeated, leaking some sort of magical substance from his horn, which the witch drinks, taking her back to a happy childhood memories for a moment. And then as she snaps back to the present, an ominous plan for her 10,000 captives becomes clear.
Can I ask you to review what was in the memory?
The memory was it was just a brief snapshot of childhood.
It was a cat
before she had warts, before her parents divorced, and before her cat ran away. So
wow.
Just like a snippet in
but
I love, because she was only there for a second, so I don't really know if it was a fully formed. I don't know.
I love that this one seems like it was designed to leverage the actual premise of the story, the prompt, drinking something and remembering something, to the most absurd extreme. Like that when she guzzled the sweet nectar of that unicorn, like that's the opposite of the Arnold Palmer iced tea. Like, this was so difficult to procure and so absurdly rare.
That it did not cost 99 cents.
It did not cost. There's no way you can food stamp your way. You need to have a will to power on a huge scale just to get this guzzling opportunity. And it seemed like she knew that it was a potion. It wasn't just something. It was like, it brought her back to childhood, but it had it in that going back and seeing the pre-wart, pre-parent divorce, pre-cat loss, for which that has to be hard, especially.
that sure does.
Like we get there, and then the plan comes into being about what to do with this army of Mr. Pizzlypuff that she's about to do something to. I don't know what the character wants here. I don't like. I feel like we got a little bit of her drive towards disappointment, but I don't see how amassing power at such a scale and taking revenge on them is going to repair that. A lot of vengeance narratives are about that, like whatever was formatively taken away, you're trying to recover it.
Interesting, right? Right.
And so the character, I thought the setting was wildly fantastic. Evil Witch Unicorn Army, secret hovel. These are all great things. Some of the details, Mr. Pizzlypuff, and the Unicorn Army. That's just I just see all these various lines and lines and lines in formation of these unicorns. So in terms of evaluating this, I would say the plot's pretty strong. The characters are all, I would say plot's very interesting because of especially how it incorporated the premise. Setting was the weak one for me on this one, and had the most opportunity to just, it's an enchanted forest, but it's kind of gestured at. You just sort of fill in the blanks. There.
That's a good point. I mean, I thought, I guess I read it a little bit differently, where I thought it was an interesting depth of the character of the witch, where she's doing this great evil in order to reclaim that innocence of her childhood. You know what I mean? I took it as so basically she's going to crack open all 10,000 of these unicorn horns and start, you know what I mean? And try to just go back to better memories in her mind. So, or at the very least leverage their memory juice potion for that sort of stuff. But so yeah, I don't know. But the, when I don't know. I thought the reveal of the magic powers of the horn marrow and the plan for the captives was strong for the plot as far as
Oh yeah,
moving that forward.
definitely.
Um, yeah, the setting. I mean, yeah, I guess I'm gonna also agree with you where the setting is probably one of the weaker parts here. Although the character, like the unicorn army and this witch in an enchanted forest, it got me far enough along the line
Yeah, the
where
secret hovel. Yeah,
yeah, it got me there. I do wish I knew what the trap was that got that unicorn army there. Maybe it was a ruse using food stamps. Who knows? Who knows? Who
it
knows?
was
That's
wild. The contrast between number one and number two is wild. Just a
that's a
wild.
fact.
Yeah, that was
That's a
great.
fact. Let's see. Let's see where Slice falls in this mix,
All right.
and if this will
That's
add
what you
any
get with such
clarity.
an ambiguous prompt. You can go anywhere with it, right?
Anything could happen,
Yeah.
honestly. Charlena, what was I saying? I can't remember it. Something about where it was when I found that thing that turned out to be something else I thought I may have had at some point but lost. Shoes? Lifeboat something? The happy bearded man in the red sweater rambled with his field goal arms up and then crossing each at each new thought. Charlena thought he was kind of annoying, but pleasant to look at. Kind of like a stick photo that popped up with him, red sweatered, smiling, bearded. He was a consistent customer, and the cafe needed those, but he took forever to order. Always the same thing. Charlena, tell me this. What was I saying? Did I ask for extra hot? Always got old early, but needed the 350. Some people are just lonely, even though they look like stock photos with red sweaters and smiles. It was about the lifeboat, like a donut. I wanted a donut. Chocolate glazed? No, no. It was the window glazing. Where'd you get yours done? Squid Game walkway? No, you're a vegetarian. Was that it? I was telling you about my trip to Morocco, how the bricks there are nothing like the sandy ones here in your cafe. That was it, right? Minnesota. That place has changed. No, no, right? No. Here you go, Piper, Charlena said, handing him his tea. Piper sipped the hot leaf juice right away and exclaimed with a grin, arms up, bearded, red sweatered, Eureka! I remember! I'm desperately, desperately alone. So now
Hmm.
we have Charlena stuck in a retail worker's worst nightmare, an overly friendly, chatty, yet much needed regular who has all the time in the world to relate nothing interesting or actionable. Meanwhile, the chatty regular struggles to find the words to relate their overwhelming loneliness, which forces them to hold innocent service workers hostage for $3.50. Um, Also, I'd like to note that it seemed like Slice was trying to communicate with Storybot about a specific character of a stock photo in a red sweater in a beard, and it seemed like Storybot was responding. That was interesting.
Yeah, the irony here is this is a story about missed connections, but there's a connection between author and our artificial intelligence Storybot. It's very strong and very not alone. Um, I thought this had so many echoes of Hemingway's A Clean, Well Lighted Place about sort of the terse dialogue. The way it was set up was pretty masterful. Charlene, what did I say? Not being able to remember. You get all these kind of random shoes, lifeboat, and then we get the image of the field goal arms up, which this is clearly somebody who's sort of at the end of being able to form in language, able to communicate and express to another person what they're actually feeling. And yet then at the end it kind of undoes all that tangle, and then we get what was it, the coffee, sorry, what was the liquid?
Tea. It
It
was
was
it
the
was hot
tea.
tea. Yeah.
The tea goes in there, and then he has the moment of realization. But I loved the book ending of those kind of those corresponding motifs playing off. I thought that was very strong, from the forgetting to the remembering through the sip of the coffee. I thought that was really elegantly done.
Mm,
Um,
hmm
my one just minor quibble was that I feel like it should have cut before, when he remembered what he was saying, and he exclaimed, I feel like it lost some of the air from the balloon, from the crescendo, when he said, I am so desperately alone. It was too kind of like snakes on a plane. It was too literal. It was like it was a single entendre. And
That's
I
the note.
needed
Yeah.
a different line, and I can't come up with one, or just a cut right before that moment.
Yeah, interesting. That's a note I have wrote down here for the plot in mine as well, where it says disappointed at obviousness of final line. You know, it was alluded to that this guy was lonely a couple times, and yeah, if I don't know, I was also trying to come up with a better line and I couldn't, so I was, but it's something like where it's like, oh, I remember I wanted iced tea. I didn't want hot tea. That's what I was trying to tell you
something
for the
really
past 3
petty,
minutes while
maybe
you were making it, you know, or something, you know, I don't know, but
something that strung together the shoes and the lifeboat, like the hazy memories. I don't know.
it's
It
tough.
needed
It's
just-
tough. It's tough. The character, and like, I thought the characters were not that deep, a little shallow, but that's also reflected in their interactions with each other. And it was also kind of a hollow sort of,
Yeah, I think
this
that was
guy's,
the point. No, that was
yeah, right.
that was the point. It was missed
Yeah.
connection. It was,
Right.
you know, I want that $3.50, and I'm going to endure whatever language game this guy wants to play with me.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was my thing with the setting too, where it's like, I know it's in a coffee shop, but since the dialogue was so vacuous, it kind of just had me flashback to similar situations that I've been in, where it's just like me, a counter, and a person, and like that's it. That's the whole world, and you can't leave. You know, you can't leave that counter without getting that 350.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
very interesting. And it's also kind of shades of Howard Stern's, where I could see Howard Stern being one of these people on the other side of the counter, and the person at Wawa being like, oh man, this guy's going to talk to me about Arnold Palmer iced tea again.
Yeah, that's very interesting. The first one and the third one do kind of have reverberations in terms of tone or theme, or it's funny how the memory is hard to get in there. I think memory was really, really tricky to get into a one-page story because it takes you out of the setting in all of these.
Interesting. Yeah.
They have to take you back to something else, but in only one page, it's almost impossible to pull off that moment of memory and integrate it in. It's such a disruption.
Yeah.
And these are such sprints in terms of, you know, you got 400 words. So high degree of difficulty and interesting range tonight.
Very interesting range. Lot of interesting results from the authors, and so now all we need to do is look at the results, really, because you know, we've given our opinions, we've given Storybot 3000's opinions, but none of those matter except for Storybot's. Beyond that, it's just about you guys, the public. All we've got one viewer out there.
Viewer.
Yeah, no big deal. This is for you, buddy. This is for you. We'll see what you wanted. Hit the refresh button, and boom, look at that. Howard Stern on top. Just a masterful, coming in hot, cleaning up, taking an NFT home.
Yeah, that shows power of fresh eyes, beginner's mind. That's
get in there and get it good. Champion coming in second, although there for the day and the week, which is just not going to cut the mustard, as Mrs. Brooks used to say. Slice in third today, but it doesn't matter because Slice is on top for the week. Look at that, 634. Champion at 595.
Well played, Slice.
Well played all around. This also makes Slice back-to-back weekly champion. He won last week's as well and won this week's. So
he's collecting quite a menagerie of those NFTs.
You know, I'm look, I don't know if he can quit his job yet, but I mean, pretty soon.
You might be able to. I would do it on spec. Just get ahead of this. Get ahead of this.
Right. It's yeah. Don't wait for the assets to appreciate.
Right.
Make the assets appreciate.
Exactly.
And yeah. I don't know if that makes sense actually at all. Let's look at the writing prompt for next
yeah. Oh
Monday.
yeah.
So you guys have a weekend now to think about this one. Where crows gather, magic happens. Interesting.
Wow.
I guess this is mostly about setting, maybe a little bit about plot. What do you think here?
I think there's a magic system in place that needs to be teased out. There's animals, there's magic, all sorts of sorcery are possible here. But we're going into the fantastic, the gothic, the sublime. Very excited. Very excited.
I bet Champion is probably kicking themselves for unleashing that magical setting and story tonight.
Yeah.
Where just throw a couple crows in there.
Crows in there.
Resubmit it. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's going to be an interesting prompt. I mean, you've got a little more time than usual to write it or to think about it. So let that marinate in there, folks. But beyond that, you know what time it is here, Greg?
What time is it? Is it that time?
Oh, it's the time. Time for the top 5 sentences of the day.
Boom.
By the way, I want to do a top 5 sentences of the week, but I thought about that too late. So we should put a pin in that.
Let's program Storybot over the weekend.
Yeah. Let's get Storybot in on that. Number 5 from Howard Stern. I just know in my crazy life where certainty is a fairy tale, these cans would stay the same price. Number 4, also from Howard Stern. But the thing is, this magic cold food cash cow of a card I have has been giving me less food due to some big fancy word I keep hearing smart people call inflation.
The word inflation is inflated. It's not lost on me, Howard Stern.
Look at that. Look at that. A little double symbolism for the folks at home. Number 3 from Champion. Immediately, the witch was transported back to her childhood. Before the warts and her parents' divorce and her cat Iggy running away, she was happy. Number 2 from Slice. I can't remember it. Something about where it was when I found that thing that turned out to be something else I thought I may have had lost at some point, but lost.
That's the whole story right there, right?
That's it. That is it. That's just a guy sitting there saying nothing to you, just holding your tip. Oh man. And the number 1 line of the night from Howard Stern. I take that long sip, that everlasting guzzle that will assure my story adheres to the prompt. I think to myself, could 99-cent Arizona teas be holding the fabric of our society together?
Wow.
Deep thoughts.
Yeah.
Deep thoughts from apparently a deep man.
Guzzle,
known on the Eastern
guzzle
Shore.
that will assure my story adheres to the prompt. Oh,
there's a lot of layers in this one.
Calling it right out.
A lot of layers in there.
That's what it is.
Boom. Boom. And then his thought was very poignant as well. I mean, it's just it's who would have thought?
Or Arizona tea with George Bush on the can.
Holding everything together just for one more day. This show was not sponsored by Arizona Iced Tea, but if you're watching out there and think, hey, this is worth it, I don't know, let us know.
Sponsorship are available. We are willing to talk.
We have ad space for sale. But apparently Howard Stern's already sponsored by them since of the tattoo on their shoulder.
There is some product placement going on his body.
Interesting. We'll have to check into that. See if there's there, and who knows? Maybe that's what they did. They swarmed the voting, all of their marketing team, so that Howard Stern got to the top spot.
I wouldn't put anything past it. On the internet these days, you don't know who's behind anything.
You can't trust it. You can always be a dog on the internet or something like that. All right. Well, that unfulfilling line wraps up this week's edition of Clash of the Pencils nightly live stream. So until next time, we'll see you folks out on the paper. Do you want to participate in the Clash of the Pencils and Story Squad universe? It's easy. Join us on Twitter or in our Discord server at Story Squad HQ. There's lots of ways to participate. Draw some fan art. Play our addictive game of jokes and master strokes, Word Hoax. Or join Greg's monthly book club. And as always, remember to pay your cat tax. Money, fame, and love can all be found here at Story Squad.